Hey doing everyone, welcome back. Camera just wobbled a little bit because my buddy George over there that you saw in the video earlier, he decided that he was going to come up here. In fact, is he going to make an appearance? Looks like, yep, he is right there. You see George right there. So, he's camera shy when he wants to be, but he's right here when he wants to not be so camera shy. And as George rubbing himself up against, I don't know how other creators do their content, how they record theirs. Some of them have a camera that they said, others do it with their phones. And I am using a laptop with a camera attached to it, and George is rubbing his head against the computer screen, right? The camera's right up here, and I'm using a laptop, right? So that's the way I record. And George doing that thing that cats do where they rub their head. He was rubbing his head right up against the screen, so that's why I was doing this. That's me that time. But what was I going to do this video about now? Well, I don't even remember. Don't even remember now. So let's just do a video about animals. Since George is still right here, he's just off screen over here. But yeah, George, this guy, he's kind of awesome. He's looking at me like, you're talking about me. Yeah, I'm talking about you, dude. This guy, we adopted him as an adult cat because we specifically wanted an adult cat. Mainly because shelters are full of cats, and seems like everybody wants a kitten, right? Who can blame them? Kittens are cute. It's fun watching them grow up. So we wanted to get an adult cat out of the shelter that somebody else might not want. Well, anybody who wouldn't want George doesn't want a cat. I mean, that's just all there is to it, because he's pretty cool. George is awesome. It took him, I don't know, 2 months before he would come up out of the basement, just to even look around. I mean, he'd come up, he'd eat, and then he'd go back down to the basement. And he wanted nothing to do with anything. I mean, he was still figuring things out, right? And, it's finished basement, so it's not like, and he had all the comforts down there that he needed. But then for 2 years after that, he wanted nothing to do with me. Which is kind of funny, because now, we've had him he was about 3 years old when we adopted him. We've had him for about 5 years, 5.5 years. So he's roughly about 8 years old now. And he won't leave me alone. I mean, you saw what he was just doing to my camera a little bit ago, kind of shaking the video, and I'm not going to edit that. Partly because I don't know how to edit, and partly because I just don't feel like doing another take on this video. I'm just going to roll with it. I don't edit, I mean, that's just the way it is. Maybe I should sometimes, but I don't. But yeah, I mean, I'll come home from work sometimes, and I don't even get a chance to take my shoes off, and he's in my lap. Just laying there looking at me, purr, the way, almost like, where'd you go, dude? Not too long ago, we featured Chester in a video. He showed up. He didn't stay up here very long. He's mostly white with a little bit of orange on him. And that cat, he is definitely interesting. Well, I don't think he thinks he should be a cat. I think he thinks he should be like an astrophysicist or something, because I don't know. There's just something about that cat. He's just curious about everything. He has to figure everything out. Somehow he got into an open dresser drawer and went back behind, inside of the dresser. You know, he actually went past the drawer, and he's a clever little snot, I guess. I almost said something else, but I try to keep the language clean for the most part. But yeah, he's clever. I mean, he's always trying to figure something out. And then we have Elliot. Elliot is the guy that he's actually the second oldest of the cats. He's also the smallest. Elliot and Penelope are about 4 years old. Eva and Chester are about 3 years old. So Elliot and Penelope, right? Well, actually, all 4 of them were fosters. George was the only one that was not a foster. But yeah, Elliot, my wife just fell in love with him when we were fostering kittens and just couldn't let him go back. And Penelope, she chose me. So it's like, all right. She refused to go back. She's like, no, I'm staying here with you. Of course, she doesn't really like me that much lately because I have to give her medication for her asthma. That's not fun, giving a cat medication. But yeah, she's the gray tabby that you've seen in some of my other videos probably. Elliot, he's the guy that'll he'll sit up on my shoulder and then launch himself off. Go back and watch some of my videos. You'll see him do that. I mean, he's just weird like that. I mean, and the funny thing is, the first time he ever did that, we had to take him to the vet. I think it was just a routine checkup, maybe. I don't remember why he was in there, but had to take him to the vet, and he might have just needed, rabies shots or something like that. Who knows? I don't remember. Anyway, I'm holding on to him, and my wife is talking to, I don't remember if it was the doctor or the tech or who it was, but it might have been both of them, actually. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She is looking away, and I've got Elliot right here on my shoulder, right? And I don't know he's going to do this until I kind of see him crouch and kind of do that little butt wiggle that cats do. It's like, oh no, I know what's happening next. And I couldn't even warn my wife about it. Mainly because I had to see her reaction to it. I mean, it's not even that I didn't have time to warn her. It's that I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I had to see her reaction because I knew it was going to be hilarious. And he leaps from my shoulder, and we're talking like 6 feet across the room onto her shoulder. And she had no clue it was coming. She just turns her head as he's doing it, and she just sees this streak of white coming at her and landing right on her shoulder. And one of the funniest things I'd ever seen. And, that started something that he did for a while. And you know what? I mentioned Penelope a little bit ago. Well, here she is. There she is. There's my girl. My little tabby girl. So it's a rare video when you get 2 cats in it. But yeah, it's hard giving her medication. And then you've got Eva. Eva, this girl, she doesn't meow. She squeaks. And she plays fetch. And she's just all around just a cool cat. Eva and Chester were actually, they're not from the same litter, but they were from the same group of foster kittens. You know, we had 3 kittens that were from 3 different litters, right? So, and one of them, I actually remember her name. Her name was Kira. And it's not that she wasn't a good kitten. It was more that, you know what? She doesn't fit in as well with this group of cats. You know, like the cats that we had, right? Sweet little kitten, though. And somebody is going to love her. Somebody's going to love this little girl. She was kind of long-haired, I mean, not like long-haired, and she was gray, but just a sweet little kitten. But yeah, Eva and Chester came from that group. And Penelope was like, I don't know, a litter or 2 litters after Elliot. And you know, the only reason we don't still foster kittens now is because legally we are not allowed to. And the reason for that is because we have too many pets. It is not legal in the state of Iowa for us to foster at this point in time because we have 6 pets. If we had 1 less animal, we could foster. And the unfortunate reality of that situation is that it won't be too far into the future when we will have 1 less. That being Molly, the dog. You know, but she's 15 years old. You know, she's had a long, happy, healthy life. And you know, she was my wife's dog before I knew my wife, and they had been through some stuff together. You know, so they had been through some hard times. You know, so that's not a day that we're looking forward to, of course. But at 15 years old, for a large mixed breed dog, I mean, that's... Honestly, the vet is surprised that she's still alive and still relatively healthy, but she is deteriorating. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, just kind of rambling about animals here for some reason. I'm going to blame this guy over here. Yeah, George, he's still here. And, nope, now I thought he was sleeping, I guess not. But I'm going to blame him for, you know, just rambling about animals. But I guess if I'm going to make a point here at all, because really there hasn't been a point to this video, but if I'm going to make a point, and I think I will make a point, and as soon as I take this stuff away from George here, you know, just my mouse and mouse pad so that I can stop recording here in a second. But if I'm going to make a point here, let me make it this. If you want to bring an animal into your home, I would encourage that, provided that you have the means, provided that you have the space. And if you have enough heart and enough home and the financial means to do it, absolutely do it. But please adopt. Don't shop for one. Don't go with the, hey, kittens free to a good home. Actually, you know what? I'm not saying don't adopt those kittens. What I'm saying is don't be that person with that box of kittens free to a good home, because you don't know who's going to end up with them. Go to your shelter and adopt. And I guess that's really the only point that I'm going to make. You know, make sure they're taken care of. And how many is too many? Well, if you have enough heart and enough home, that's for you to decide. But don't hoard animals either, though. I mean, I've seen those situations too. Don't hoard them, and make sure you can take care of them. And adopt from a shelter, please, because there are a lot of animals that are in need of help. So what started off as rambling about nothing kind of turned into something. So I'll catch y'all next time.